Unless specifically indicated otherwise, the content expressed are my views only and not necessarily those of Life Pro Asset Management, LLC. The content presented is in no way an investment advice, solicitation, or an offer to sell securities or investment advisory services. The material is provided for general information and educational purposes based upon publicly available information from sources believed to be reliable. I cannot assure the accuracy or completeness of these materials. As such, the information in these materials may change at any time without notice. Reference to these discussions about IULs and annuities are fixed insurance products. Investments on fixed insurance products are different from investments in the stock market. Any guarantees provided by a fixed insurance product cannot be assumed to be guaranteed for any other investment.
Welcome to the Rock My Finances show on K4HD Radio and Talk4 TV, where we put the fun in finance. Join Powerhouse Jennifer Joseph, CDFA, CMC, and Private Wealth Advisor, as she collaborates with you to create clarity, control, and confidence with your money, your way. It's not about the zeros, so what is it all about? Let's find out. Now here's your host and weekly friend, Jennifer Joseph.
Hey, how's it going? I'm back. Rock My Finances. It's time for us to really dive in this season and let's talk about what we're grateful for. And we're also going to talk about our grateful practices. If you have one, if you're sketchy at it, if you want to create a new one, doesn't really even matter. Like, doesn't make a difference in our life. And the difference between gratitude and appreciation. This is my I want to say mantra almost, because, and I'm going to go into that a little bit further. I really do believe that there is a difference between being grateful and appreciating something or someone or an experience. And we're going to talk about that going on further today as well. What I'd like for you to walk away with from today's podcast is actual new tips and tricks maybe that you might not have done before. And I truly believe it is life-changing when we come from a receiving place of just amazing gratitude and we actually appreciate the small things around us. Not necessarily even all the huge things, but the small things. So like right now, none of my computers worked, hooked it into the Ethernet. I'm hardwired. It still didn't work. Everything happens for a reason. And so now I'm on my little Surface Pro. Am I grateful that I have this backup? Absolutely, because now I'm here, I'm on time, and we can do this. So I love to stop and share appreciation and gratitude. Today, I'm very excited to share with you two amazing guests. They are amazing friends and clients. They've been with me for a long time now, and you are going to meet fabulous women today. You're going to hear how gratitude and appreciation shows up in their life and their career. They're both entrepreneurs, amazing, successful business women. And you're going to maybe walk away from something that you might add to your daily practice or even start a daily practice. So I am here to introduce to you Miss MJ LeBlanc. She's amazing, vibrancy igniter. And Miss Dr. Lee Pearson joining us today. Come on in, ladies.
Hi.
Hello,
Hi,
hello.
Hi, MJ.
I'm so glad you're here.
I'm so glad too.
This is going to be fun. So I'm going to give our listening audience the little trick here. We actually meet every Friday. So we have a coaching program, and these beautiful ladies are in my coaching program. And we're also friends outside of that, of course. I'm also their financial advisor, and we've done tons of empowerment seminars together, speaking seminars together, lots of lifelong learning conferences together. And so we are so fortunate that we can be on Zoom every week. So we have a really good time. So if we get a little crazy today, don't mind us. We're very good friends and we know each other very, very well. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Just give us a quick little, you know me, because we start this all the time, but I'm going to say what you're grateful for spending your money on in the last week. What was one thing that you purchased that you really are happy that you purchased? Kind of like our celebrations, but a little bit different. So MJ, we're going to start with you. What is something that you spent money on that you're totally grateful for?
I don't know if it's actually, yeah, I will just say, I just spent money on Airbnb to go spend some quality time with my son in Northern California. So that
Yeah,
for me is a total investment.
that's totally perfect, right? Because now
Yeah,
you're making memories. We love to spend money on things that we're going to be making memories. Because let's
yeah.
face it, that's what life's about. When we're looking back on our life, we definitely want to have some amazing memories. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, Miss Lee, what did you spend money on that you're really happy about?
I'm gonna say I live on the second floor and I have a little deck that I can go outside. And the thing that I've missed most of all is being able to have a fire, because I have no fireplace and you can't really have a fire pit on a deck. It's just not ideal, even though it's composite. So I took my little gas grill, which I'd had for 2 years. I bought it as soon as I moved in here. Never been able to use it because I was scared of the little canisters that have the propane in them. I couldn't figure out how to make them work. So I finally said, screw that. I'm going to turn my little tiny gas grill into a charcoal grill and burn some sticks in it. So I went and bought the really fancy charcoal, which is like hardwood charcoal, costs $35 a bag, which normally I would never do, but that. And so now I can sit outside in the cold winter nights and have I might do that tonight because it's like already 25 outside. And have a little fire for me. And it's the smell of as much as anything that I love. So I'm excited about that.
I love that. I love that. Actually, that's one of my favorite things is sitting around a campfire and the smell of it, the crackle pop smell.
Yeah.
I love that. I know when you're sitting there, the smell goes into your clothes and your hair and everything. And it's like, I love that. Like I take it in the house like a little cabin. That's so great. I'm excited. Okay. And Miss Lee is in Boston and Miss MJ, where are you at?
I'm in the desert of Coachella Valley, specifically in Indio, and that's why it was kind of funny to hear about the weather because we're having 71 Fahrenheit right now, but it's cold at night right now. And Lee, thank you so much for sharing this because I have a fire pit outside and I didn't use it since I moved here because I was having the same issue about like, how do I work my the propane tank? So I'm going to spend a grateful moment next weekend sitting by this little fire and maybe reading a book and thinking about you two, my beautiful ladies.
I love that. And that's how important it is to be in community because we all learn from each other. And I know that when being entrepreneurs, we're all three entrepreneurs. And when we kind of feel isolated and we forget how much information that we can learn from other people. And I know it's been crazy over the last few years being more isolated. So I love that the three of us are on talking about different things in your life because then we can learn from it and do from it. So I'm going to take it a little bit deeper because I know you ladies can go with me deeper. So we're all going to take a big deep breath. And we're going to use my favorite F word, which is our feeling, right? I am picturing you two both around your little fires. Now, I do not have that space. So I'm going to match that with sitting out on my deck as well. And I want to feel us all doing something that really is connecting us all, right? So when you're all out there, when it's cold out, now MJ's cold is 65, Lee's cold is 20. So it's a very different in the temperature, but to us, it's still that cold, right? I'm in Beverly Hills right now as well. So it does get chilly. Like I wore a jacket last night. Woo! So big deal, right? But let's feel each other being grateful for being able to take that moment and be warm with us in the evening. So I'm looking forward to that. So we'll do that throughout the week and then touch base again. So first of all, let me know what you do. Just real brief, real quick. What do you do? MJ, we'll start with you.
Yeah. Okay. So I help overwhelmed and stressed out professional women who are struggling with feelings. They struggle with feeling at peace with themselves. And what I always find, or often find, I would say, is these women haven't been able to resolve the pain of the past that's holding them back in the present moment to move into the future, that they can feel empowered and live the creating life they dream and desire. So that's
awesome.
that's in a nutshell what I'm doing. And that's, we have to have lived experience to be appreciative and grateful, and also to be able to walk the talk, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're usually just a few steps ahead of our clients, right? Because
Yes.
we're learning all of that as well. So would you say your avatar or good client that is very successful with you, is she more of an entrepreneur, or does it matter?
Well, that's why it's professional, because that can be someone that is, in a business career, like that can be in the corporate world, but that can also be someone who is starting a business or have a flourishing business. But they have things that get them stuck and get in the way of, moving further with some of their goals in life.
Yeah, so they're just feeling stuck, not getting to that next level,
Yes.
and they need a little push to figure out, actually, it's from the past that you can help them clear out to move forward.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean that it is a business goal, but that what can be in the way, that can be a relationship, some health concerns, anything like that. But we're looking at the whole picture of the person and different roles that they have in their lives, and how we can get them a little bit more unstuck and move to the next phase of their life.
That's great. I think we all need that. I've needed that several times throughout my life, for sure. And
Mhm.
not done yet, right? Like,
Oh no, never done, right?
We a lot. We're never done, right? We're never done. That's awesome. Well, good. I'm glad you do what you do, MJ. We all need you for sure. Okay,
Thank
Miss
you.
Dr. Lee Pearson, tell me about what you do.
Yes. Well, you get a little hint from seeing all the skeletons around me. And you might be able to see my logo back here. My company's name is Music Minus Pain, which is kind of self-explanatory if you know that around 75% of professional musicians play in pain, which is a huge, huge epidemic. So I'm a professional musician myself. I'm a flutist. And what I do is I coach musicians who are struggling with pain and anxiety and tension and sometimes injury. There are a lot of musicians who are injured. And a lot of it is because they don't know how to use their bodies. I find that they don't know, if they have to move their arm 1,000 times during a rehearsal, they don't always know how to do that in the way that it's supposed to be done. So there's a lot of information that musicians know, and that I had to learn myself, because I played in pain for 30 years.
Wow.
I was a mess. I would just look at my flute. I couldn't even open the case. I just look at it and cry because it hurt so much. And it wasn't just the physical pain, but the emotional pain of not being able to do it. So I started working with individual musicians and classes about 25 years ago. Now I'm primarily working with teachers, because what I realized is that the injury and the pain doesn't start when you're 18 or 20 or 30. It starts when you're 10, when you first start taking lessons, and nobody's asking you, how does your body work? How does that feel? And people don't think to ask a teacher, well, how do you feel when you're teaching? What's that like for you? They just assume that teachers know what to do. But you know what? People who teach instruments have almost no training in how to teach. They have training in their instrument, but they have no training in how to teach. So that's what I'm doing, is I'm starting to train teachers in how to teach, how to help students understand how their body works, and how there's that F word again, how their feelings work, so they don't get inundated with anxiety about performing or about whatever it is that's bothering them. We know there's a lot of that going around right now.
A lot. And then how we think about one thing is how we think about everything. So you're absolutely right. That's so important. And like, I took clarinet, and I had my kids do instruments as well. And you're absolutely right. Like, the teachers just are musicians that want to make some money.
Well, and they want to teach.
Right. They just want to
care. They care, and they want to teach, and they want their students.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But doesn't mean that they went to school on how to teach someone else.
There is no school on how to teach someone else.
Wow.
That's mind blowing.
Yeah. Isn't it?
That's really important. I'm glad you're doing what you do, for sure. And how can someone get in touch with you? What's your website name?
I put this in the chat. So my website is musicminuspain.com. And if you are, that didn't there's a quiz that goes onlineteachingstyle.com. If you are a musician and a teacher or any kind of teacher and you want to learn a little more about the way that you teach, you go there, onlineteachingstyle.com, and that'll give you some great things to look at about how you're approaching teaching.
Awesome. That's good. Good. Okay, so let's dive in, ladies. Do you have a gratitude or a grateful practice? Is it something that you do every day or quarterly or vision boardy or annually or anything at all about gratitude? MJ?
I wish I would say that I have a daily consistent practice, meaning at the same time, because for me, having a rituals and stacking them up one after the other is so helpful to keep them up, but I don't. For now, for the gratitude part, but I'm always finding moments to be grateful every day. One of the things that I tend to do, especially if I kind of skip my regular morning ritual and I'm tired, I'm staying in bed, I'm gonna just make sure that I am thinking about what I'm grateful for before I get my feet out of the bed.
That's good. So you're starting your day off.
Yes, I might linger a few more minutes. That's my trick to be lazy, quote unquote. But if I'm just say, okay, well, I'll wake up today and then I'm going to think about certain things. But usually what I really love to do when I do it more consistently is I have a journal just for that. Because I don't want to have my journal, sometimes my journal can be for venting and sometimes I create lists and things like that. But I wanted to have a journal where I can just go back to open it and just, maybe go back in time or just like make an inventory of all the things I'm grateful for, because sometimes
is it only gratitude in that journal? That's all you put in that one journal is gratitude?
Yes, exactly. And I have another book that is a gratitude book. So they have questions. So if I'm just stuck and I don't know what to talk about, I just open a random page, or I find something that is very inspiring for that day. I ask the questions and then I start reflecting rather than just saying, I'm grateful for my house, I'm grateful for this.
Yeah.
I go deeper into the F word.
Yeah. We love the F word. Awesome. I love it. Okay, Lee, do you have a practice?
Yeah, I do. I have, but the only thing I want to do when I get up in the morning is make my coffee and go sit outside and get fresh air in my lungs. And I don't care. The only time I don't go outside is it's pouring down rain, but it's snowing, whatever. I'm out there, 0 degrees. I'm out there bundled up in my coat and my blanket. And I have this cool journal, which I got when I'm actually a certified health coach. And this was part of the program that I got. And what I love about it is it says morning intentions. I know you can't see this, but I'll just tell you: morning thoughts, feelings, and intuitions. And then I am grateful for. And then there's a place to list all the things I'm going to do. I try not to do that first, but I just take that time sitting outside on my deck, and I can look up at the trees and the sky. I'm grateful to live in the country so I can see the space around me and just breathe in the fresh air and watch the squirrels climbing up and down the trees and sometimes the birds, and listen to the roosters. The roosters are always crowing. So that's one thing. But I also wanted to share something that you said to me last week, Jennifer, because I was talking about all these things I have to do, and you or Denise, somebody said, you don't need to say what I have to do. You can say what I get to do. So a little example of that is in 2 weeks, I have a really, really big day on Sunday. I'm speaking in church. I'm giving a very vulnerable talk. Then I'm moderating a meeting for 100 people where I have to be on top of everything and run the whole thing. And then I have to run directly from that, drive an hour, go to a concert that I'm singing in, which is all new. It's a new group that I'm in. So it's like, oh my God, I have to do this meeting and I have to give my speech, and then I have to get in a car and I have to get to the concert, and I have no idea what that's going to be like. And then I suddenly thought, wait a minute, I get to speak in church. I get to run this meeting, which is fantastic because I'm really good at it. And people like me to do that. They ask me to be moderator because I can manage a room. And I get to go sing this beautiful music in a concert, even if I have to sit in a chair because I have bad knees. So what? I'm going to love it, and it's going to be great, wonderful. So that's a really, I'm trying to incorporate that more into my thinking, to notice whenever I feel that resistance to something that I should be doing or have to do, to turn it around and say, I get to do it. And that's been really great.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. That's so great. And it is a total mind shift, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we're all about here. When we're rocking our finances, we are always coming to it with stress and overwhelm most of the time.
Yeah.
And we get to switch that around to, I don't have to. I'm choosing to play the money game. I get to pay these people or not, and send them a note and say, I'll pay you next month. Thanks for the electricity. Like whatever we get to choose, but we actually get to choose that. And I think we forget that when something's running us and we're not running it.
I've been thinking about that a lot this week because, holidays and food ads and consumerism and gifts ads, it's just coming how many emails do you get, saying buy this, buy that, special deal, once in a lifetime.
Black Friday. Yeah.
Crap. And so part of me is saying, I don't want to go anywhere or do anything because I don't have any money. I can't spend any money and I'm not doing it. But then it's like, okay, so if I don't go to any of the holiday events, then I'm missing out on the spirit. Even if I'm going to a store and I'm like, I'm not going to buy anything, but I just want to see all the pretty stuff, that I can change that around and say, well, I get to go and have a little bit of holiday spirit, but I'm choosing not to spend money because I don't need to. And I have other ways to give things to people. And I don't have to collect things because I don't need things. I live in one room. I don't need anything. And that's a real shift for me, so that I don't feel like a victim, but I feel like I'm in charge of what I'm doing.
And you're in control of it as well. Yeah,
that's great. I so agree with what you're saying, both of you, about like taking charge, and the thing about saying I get to, because this Sunday was my first day off for the last 2 weeks. And I was like, overwhelmed with the home chores to catch up with and the business and stuff like that. And at some point I was like, you know what? I'm not going anywhere with those negative thoughts. So I put on my running shoes and my leggings, and I went around, because I live in a little gated golf course thing. And I was like, I'm going to go walk around in the sun. I'm like you, Lee, you know that. Like for me, being outside and being in nature just make a full switch for me, because I saw little wild rabbits running around. I'm seeing the mountains. I'm like, it just brings back perspective. What's really important. And I got to meet new neighbors and have a good chat. They referred me to a creek, a trail that I'm going to go see. And it's like, it brings back the things that really matter most, when we get the frenzy, in our head, and we're just getting more grounded. And we get to choose those experiences. We get to choose to have a negative thought, or we get to choose to switch that. So I love that we're talking about that.
That's great. So we got some tips here. So switching to, I don't have to, I should, I woulda, coulda, it's I get to. And get your butt outside, no matter what's going on. Don't tell me it's too cold. We cannot have that excuse coming from Lee in Boston, right? And so get outside, get some fresh air, and switch it to the positive. So now my question is, which I started my grateful practice with Oprah back in the day when she brought up abundance and being grateful. And I had a gratitude journal on my house on the table for all my kids when they were growing up, and their friends could come in and write what they were grateful for. And it was like a big thing. Wow. Now my kids were mortified and they were totally embarrassed, and they thought I was crazy, but all their friends still remember that, right? Like we did vision boards on January 1st every day. Everybody got to come in and they got to write what they wanted. And they literally look back at that now in their 20s, right? And they're like, oh, remember that? Like, we're going to do this. It's very cool. So having that is great. The older I got, however, and in this masculine world of finance that I'm in, I would be grateful for something, but there was a little voice in the back of my head saying that I wasn't deserving of it or I wasn't worthy of it. So I was just grateful that it accidentally showed up. Well, I'm here to scratch that crap. That's baloney. So we're just going to throw that out the window, because we are all deserving of everything that we could absolutely ever dream and desire. So let's add in the word appreciation. So for me, the difference between grateful and appreciation is, yes, I appreciate you. I appreciate you both showing up today, spur of the moment. You got an hour's notice. Can you come on here and talk your talk, right? So I appreciate you showing up. Now, am I grateful? Of course I'm grateful, but I'm also appreciative because I'm giving you a platform. I love spending time with you guys. You love spending time with all of us.
Mhm.
And so it's all an equal thing. When we're just grateful for something, we're just sometimes just, oh, thank you so much. Like we didn't deserve it. So that's the difference for me in gratitude and being grateful versus appreciate. I appreciate you both being on here. Tell me what your thoughts are between appreciation and gratitude. MJ, we'll start with you and then Lee.
Yeah, and that's interesting that you were sharing that because I have a different version of feeling the difference. And for me, grateful was almost like guilt tripping. Well, at least, like let's say I have a hard car accident, and my car was total. Well, someone would say, well, at least you didn't die. Or, and like this kind of like be like toxic positivity of like looking at just like I survived this, I'm still there. And I'm not saying it's wrong because I love to just think sometimes also, if I really have a crappy day, I love to be able to just say, you know what, I have legs to walk.
Right.
I breathe, I can see, I have a home that keeps me warm. So those things are important to not, like get complacent in life because we can always want more. But for me, appreciation is not coming from a place of missing out of something, or it's more like, I really appreciate you. It's more like the gift. So that's where I see the difference. It doesn't bring the kind of negative connotation that, well, even at least I have this.
Yes, that's good.
The lack mentality that comes with it sometimes.
It can sneak in there. Exactly. I totally get you. So Lee, what's the difference for you?
Well, when I was listening to you, I had to go and look it up.
Good. I love that.
Yeah, that's right. We know you like to do that. Yeah. That's cool.
Our educator, Lee, how many degrees and stuff do you have?
Well, my dad used to do that. We had one of those big, huge, humongous dictionaries in the dining room. And whenever a word came up at the conversation at the table, he'd go and look it up. So I just have that instinct in me. I want to know where the word came from. And it comes from a word that means price. And it really means to understand the true value of something, which I think is really interesting. And that's a little bit different from grateful, but appreciate means this is really meaningful to me. Mm. And I really understand and value its true value.
That's kind of cool, really, if we think about it, because it's what we're all saying in a different way, right? Like for me, appreciate, like I can touch my heart. Like I really appreciate that. Like I love that.
My guy.
Yes. Her little skeleton is hilarious. I love it. Yeah. He's touching his heart, right?
Yes.
So it's more in depth. Yeah, that's cool. That's really, really cool. So when I was raising my kids, we did 3 gratefuls at night. Mm-hmm. And so we would write down after dinner what our 3 gratefuls were. And I, of course, wasn't as consistent as we always would love to be. And then when we got phones, then I would text them so that way, when they knew all day they were going to have to share something about being grateful. So they would stay in the grateful mindset more throughout the day, which was my plan. And that's my plan for myself as well. So how do you, beautiful ladies, switch from negative anything, right? Sad, depressed, anger, frustration, anything on the emotional scale that's on the negative side of things, to something that's on the positive side of things? And I know you both said going outside, you love the fresh air, you both love Mother Earth and getting out and touching that to ground you, to get you up to the scale a little bit more. But is there any other practices that you'd like to share with the listeners? Lee?
I just want to say something before we go into that.
Yes.
So on your Zoom page, when we go into Zoom for a meeting, it says the host will let you in, and you wrote on it, appreciate you. That's what I see.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. And I never really thought about that. But when I think about it, it's like, that's really nice. You appreciate me being there. So thank you.
Yeah, I love that. I'm glad you saw that. Yeah, that I actually changed my signature a few years ago to with appreciation. Because you're reading my email, you're reading my text, you're spending time with me, and it is absolutely with appreciation.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good relationship.
I think for me, what I would say is, going outside, it involves moving in my body. So let's say that I'm crunch on time or I really still have a lot of chores to do. I will just stop the overthinking and I'm going to get busy with something. So I may just go rake the leaves outside. Believe it or not, I still have leaves falling here. Or the branches when there's a sand and windstorm. But it's about, for me, when I am stuck in my head, what I need to do, and that's part of the trauma-informed work I'm doing with my clients, is getting back in our body. Because we're good about thinking everything out. Everything has to be thought of. And even though we need our brain, sometimes it's good to give it a rest. And if I get engaged, and I call it a meditation in action, if I get to repot a plant or start a laundry load or clean up a closet or a drawer, even if it's like a drawer and I'm like, I have 10 minutes, it's getting me out of the looping thought and back really in the moment. Because if at that point, if I would try to just sit and meditate, maybe my brain would still be running because my body is still. And I need to get that energy out and to move. And sometimes, the other thing that I do that works for me all the time, if anybody is into music, we have our own style, or I have a playlist. I have a fun, empowering playlist. So if I feel like, like I'm not getting where I want, it's not going fast enough, I have that. Oh, actually, that's something I do most mornings because I had like a crazy last few months. But usually I put that playlist as I'm getting ready for work, in the shower, when I'm getting ready in front of my mirror. So I have a playlist of empowering, upbeat song. And I also have a list of identity statements, affirmations that I repeat 3 times. And when I did it I think I was able to do it for 2 months straight. Wow. Things that were happening in my life was crazy fun. And it's just about changing how we see things.
Yeah, absolutely. You're shifting it.
Yeah. And I think that's what Wayne Dyer, I'm going to try to quote him well. The way you look at, I'm going to come back to it. I think I'm going to.
Okay, that's good. We'll let Lee chime in here and then we'll come back to that for sure. Lee, tell us about that.
Well, one of the things that I spend a lot of time doing with my students is talking about and exploring how to change habits, because most of everything what we do is a habit. And certainly in the realm of practicing an instrument, we're having habits of movement that we've been doing for years, sometimes for decades, the same way of doing something. And to switch that into what I know about changing habits is that your brain is wired to reinforce any habit because that makes you feel safe. Whether it's a good habit or bad habit, your brain doesn't distinguish between the two. It just wants you to keep doing what you've always been doing. So in order to change that, the new habit has to be more valuable and more pleasurable than the old one. And you have to come up with something so that when you have that split second of saying, I can make a choice here, you're going to choose the thing that's going to bring you more pleasure or more value, or to use your word, more appreciation. So an example that I've been playing around with is, and you guys know this about me, I worry a lot about retirement because I'm 71 and I have some money, but not a lot of money. I'm not a millionaire. I'm pretty sure that someday I'm going to run out of money. And what am I going to do then? And how am I going to live? And all of these things. My worst fear is going into a nursing home and having no choice over the food they feed me and being forced to eat food that's going to make me sick. And, all this stuff. The worries can be endless.
Yeah.
So this week, I haven't put this into practice yet, but I'm really going to do this. I'm still working out the details. I'm thinking of retirement, which I don't even know what it means, but as a bank. And that every time I do something positive towards extending my health and my life is putting money in the bank. This is not a new idea. I know other people have done this, but I'm owning it myself. I just haven't figured out what money I'm going to use. But so in terms of eating, whenever I eat well, that's money in the bank. When I eat something that's going to make my blood sugar go up and not be good for me, that's taking money out of my retirement. And it doesn't have to be actual money. It could be something else, but that it represents that. When I do something positive about my money, something goes in the bank. When I do something that's not good for me, stuff goes out. So it becomes a very clear representation to me of how am I, instead of just feeling, oh, I want to eat that. Oh, I'm so helpless. It's like now, I know the other thing was when I do my physical therapy exercises or go for a walk, all of that is extending my life, putting money into the retirement world, whether it's actual money or just longevity, so that it's helping me rethink to go beyond the habit of immediate gratification, which is what, candy would be and all this holiday foods that I'm choosing not to eat.
Good job. Good catch.
Yeah.
Can't eat them.
Dang it. Well, you can. You physically can eat them.
Anyway.
Yeah, and I love that we're talking about that because we already had that conversation. But for me, like we were talking about what you just said, Lee, makes total sense. Someone told me just a few days ago, there's always a price to pay. And for me, I rather pay the price of eating better food, being more disciplined, paying more for certain food because they makes me feel better than paying the price of not feeling good the next day, but also long term, like you're talking about living longer. If I cannot live longer and feeling younger, meaning like I'm stuck and I can have freedom of experiencing my life, it's not worth it. So we can pay the price now or we can pay it later. It's like, I'm going to go back to, rocking our finances. It's like compound interest when we put money aside early on. It's exactly the same thing.
Yeah. I like that. But we know our brains, right? I mean, if it was that easy, it would be really easy, but it's
Dopamine.
not. Right. So we have to give ourselves that gratitude and appreciation for doing exactly what you just said, Lee. When we do eat well, or when we get up and exercise, or when we get outside, when we do something that's going to benefit and I love that word longevity. Like it just needs to replace the word retirement, because what is retirement? I am with you, like whatever that means. So our longevity bank, we want to be as healthy as long as possible. And when we do something good for us, we need to celebrate that and appreciate
reward and reward it.
Give ourselves a reward. That's awesome. We're going to take a quick break right now. We're going to be right back. And then I think what we're going to talk about is we're getting close to the end of the year. So one thing that you would like to experience next year. So I'll let you think about that during our commercial break. And Juan is going to give us our amazing commercial. We'll see you.
Wait, the show isn't over yet. There's more fun and finances ahead. Jennifer will be right back as we have a special bonus offer for you right here on Rock My Finances, broadcasting live on K4HD Radio and Talk 4 TV.
Hey y'all, it's Jennifer Jost. Are you ready to transform your relationship with money? Rock My Finances Club is your weekly mastermind for wealth empowerment. Join me live for your personal weekly group video sessions and access your personal portal with the video library at any time, including your success system and way more bonuses. Go to rockmf.com for your financial empowerment. Make yourself a priority today. Schedule a chat with me at rockmf.com and achieve your feminine financial freedom finally. Oh, and don't forget to ask me how to save 50%. See you at our weekly mastermind.
Okay, Rock My Finances on K4HD and Talk4TV is back. Once again, let's put the fun in finance with your host and weekly friend, Jennifer Jose.
Okay, we are back and we're going to talk about our goals. We do a lot of goal planning around here, and we want to put in our vision and our dreams and our desires, and we want our goals reachable. So we have stretch goals as well, but most of our goals is something that we can attain so that we can celebrate the heck out of it. We have money dances. We celebrate everything that's good from our, like, I love, right? There's
Yeah.
me doing, I love my phone case all the way to something big like a new car. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I just got a new couch and they gave me 2 free pillows. Completely appreciative of those pillows, right? So what would you ladies like to experience in the next upcoming year that you have not done before, or something that's just going to make you happy, something that's going to bring you some joy? MJ?
What I would like to experience more, and I know it's going to happen, is on top of being a life coach, I'm also starting a new career as in the mental health realm. So working with people in crisis center to help them get back on track after they are overwhelmed to the point that they really need a 30-day or, support with a team. So for me, being able to be part of that and implementing what I've learned, but at a different level, is very interesting. I also have a goal to get more. I've moved in this community about 16 months ago. So now that things are opening up a little bit more, just to getting to know people, to attend to events, to create a new community for myself. Because as we were saying, we all are social beings. Whether we're introvert or extrovert, we still need that connection. And it is a way also to really feel appreciative.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And I'm single and I've moved a couple times now recently. And every time I go into a new place, I want to meet the people just in case something happens, in case I need somebody to feed my cats. I have a flat tire, or I want to have a happy hour with someone. I just met a gal. I love, here's a plug for Arbonne. I love Arbonne Fizz Sticks. And I was out of them because I haven't been using them lately. So I put it out on Facebook and said, anybody around? I met a gal 5 blocks from me. And he's like, I'll put a box of watermelon in my screen. Come, just drop the cash and pick up the box. I'm like, thank you so much. Like, it's just so great to meet people around you. So, Lee, what are you going to experience in the year coming up?
Oh, I'll tell you something. Then I have a little story to tell you after that. Okay. But I am going to give a keynote address. Nice. I don't know where or when yet, but I am determined to get on a big stage where I can reach lots of teachers, and better if they're university teachers. I don't know yet. I'm looking at all these different organizations, but I'm ready to do my TED Talk to a group of people and get them and just shift their perspective, because they don't see, they can't see the forest for the trees. And I want them to see we got this system-wide problem that we have got to address. And you're delving into all this little detail stuff, and it's not going to change things. So I'm going to give a keynote address. I don't know where or when, but that's what I'm going to do.
And that's what I love right there. You just told the universe that you're ready for that. We don't have to know where, when, or how, or why, or who. We don't need to know any of it. We need to just set an intention, and you want to do that to give back. But you also know this is your genius zone as well. Yeah. And you have so much wisdom to impart to people. So that is so great. Awesome. Okay. Tell me the little story now. Let me see.
Okay. Do we have time?
We're going to wrap up in like 3 minutes. So let's go ahead.
Be quick. I was babysitting my grandsons, age 7 and 5, on Saturday, and we were playing this very primitive kids version of Monopoly. And the 5-year-old was just getting so down because he was losing all his money, and he was upset, and he was so I taught him. So then he got $2 because he passed go. And I said, we got to have a money dance for whenever you get some money. And he was like so into it because they love to dance. to music. You know, it was just, I just thought the whole game is a perfect way to talk about money. We should play Monopoly together sometimes because it brings up all the issues. Oh, somebody's got too much money. I don't have enough. Blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And Cash Flow, that game Cash Flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played at that game too with my kids.
Yes, that would be fun. We could all do it on Zoom and have our own board.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's good, good, good. Okay, so we're going to be wrapping up now. I want everyone to be able to reach you both, of course, so we'll put it in the show notes. So we'll, anybody that's listening to this now, you can look below in the description in the show notes. We'll have your websites there to be able to reach you. And you'll be on again, I'm sure. We'll definitely have you back again. I love these groups and all of this, and appreciate you both joining me on this, on a whim today, for sure. And I'm truly grateful for your friendship, for your trust, and for our time together for the last many, many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
And this is my time of year where I start to get all teary and grateful. And I truly am grateful for you.
Well, I want to say how grateful I am for you, Jennifer. Every week, I'm grateful for having access to your wisdom and your kindness and your love. And we get to talk every week. And it's just been a huge influence on me. So thank you. And thank you.
I ditto Lee on that. And I don't know what you're promoting, Jennifer, but I have to tell your audience that they are missing out if they're not signing up for those calls, because it's going way beyond finances. It's a community of like-minded people that are striving and getting their life better, but we are real and we are relevant to what's going on in the world and in our world, and always there to step up and help one another like we're doing today. And I'm also super appreciative that you thought about us to jump in, you know, and it means a lot. So thank you.
I love you ladies so much.
You so much. Both of
really,
you.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. And then we'll hook you up to do some more for sure. So everyone out there, you've heard some tips. Start with gratitude. Change it to appreciation. Get outside when you're feeling down. Everybody has to have a money dance. You got to shake your booty when something happens and celebrate and have a good old time. Appreciate the good things. And contrast always leads us to something else that we're going to learn better about ourselves.
Yep.
And change from I have to or I should to I get to, because you actually get to make the choice and have an amazing experience set up for yourself next year. Thank you all so much. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
We appreciate you joining us today, and don't forget to subscribe to the Rock My Finances YouTube channel for more engagement and bonus content. Tell me, what is your money story? Let's find out with Jennifer, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, every Thursday right here on K4HD Radio and Talk4 TV. It's not about the zeros, it's about the F word, feelings. Feelings Jennifer can't wait to explore with you next week. Until then, let's all say, I rock